Hi, I'm Randy Altman with Post Perspective. We're here at NAB 2019, and this is Rick Champagne from Nvidia. I have to say, almost every booth I've gone to, it seems, Nvidia is involved in some partnership in one way or another. Can you talk about what's new at the show for Nvidia, what you guys are up to?
Sure, yes, and thank you for having me, by the way. So Nvidia's here at NAB, and we're talking about everything from content creation to content distribution and consumption. And you're right, we have over 85 partners here, and we're very grateful to them, showing our solutions on the desktop, the data center, and cloud, of course. So we're really excited about that.
So when you mentioned creation, so some of the tools that are being used by creators at this show, I know Flame 2020, Resolve 16, they're all using a component of machine learning, they're using your tools. Can you talk about that relationship? And also I think you're working with Red as well on 8K real-time stuff, so just jump in and tell us.
Sure, yeah, content creation is an exciting area right now. We introduced the Nvidia RTX graphics cards, as you know, back at SIGGRAPH last year. And what's special about those is that, of course, there's all the CUDA cores for traditional graphics processing and programmable shading. And but we introduced something called RTX core or RT cores for ray tracing, and tensor cores for AI or machine learning, deep learning. And so our partners are taking advantage of that now. And so at this show, as you mentioned, Flame 2020 introduced some new ML features, including the ability to do Z depth map extraction, also extracting a normal map from faces. And so they have a really cool demo in their suite, but it's of course using machine learning and taking advantage of the GPU. And then we also saw the announcement from Resolve 16. They're doing really cool stuff like super scaling, so broadcasters can take archived content, and that's like SD or HD, and then upscale it to 4K, which is super exciting. They also have some retiming features, and of course, because it's Resolve, some really cool grading features where you can apply color from one that a grader's done over here and apply it to a bunch of other footage. They also did some organizational features, so using facial recognition. So all cool stuff. Of course, Red, we did a collaboration with them where we were able to offload debayering and demosaicing a video from the Red Rocket or from CPU over to GPU. And so huge cost savings for people doing it that way, of course, but we're able to get real-time 8K raw uncompressed in the viewport, playing back in Red Cine X Pro. ColorFront's also showing it, Assimilate Scratch is also showing it, and in full res. So that's pretty amazing. And then super excited by the announcement of Maxon's acquisition of Redshift, which is a GPU accelerated renderer.
Yep, yeah. So that'll be interesting. We just had those guys on talking about purchasing them before, and how they will still operate as their own company, and they'll just work together and speed up the process.
Very cool.
So it's cool you guys are enabling tools to give creatives the ability to be more creative in faster ways.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned creation, but can you talk about distribution as well?
Sure, yeah. At NAB, it's just amazing to go around and see all of the different booths that are doing transcoding. And there's I talked about RT cores, and I also talked about tensor cores on our GPU and the CUDA cores, but there's this, one of our best kept secrets is that we have something called NVENC, ENC, and NVDEC, DEC. It's encode and decode, and we can encode and decode video super fast, faster than real time. And this is dedicated silicon on the GPU to be able to just do transcoding. So, there are lots of booths around that have, data centers with GPUs that are transcoding and going multi-streamed all over the world. So, little known secret.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Also part of the process you were talking about was consumption. Can you talk about how Nvidia is involved in that?
Yeah, sure. And content consumption is a really interesting area for us because there's viewer side, of course, and then there's the provider side. And so content consumption, Nvidia GPUs are being used for a lot of different things. So, of course, for recommendation engines, so using AI for connecting content with people. So the right thing for you based on things you've seen in the past before, or similarity index, people like you have watched, or things that you've selected dislike.
Right.
But what I think is really interesting is being able to, there are lots of standards, PG-13 and things like that, but what's right for your family? Maybe you want to decide. And so the ability of AI to be able to recognize what's in content and then allow a user, a consumer, to be able to dial the slider to say, you know, maybe PG-13 is not appropriate for my family, or maybe something PG-14 that doesn't exist is more appropriate for my family. So being able to do things like that, but also for advertisers to be able to sell through ad inventories much more efficiently, and by getting the content, the ads, to the right people that have the highest relevance. So there's a lot of really cool things happening in content consumption right now, and NVIDIA's driving force behind that.
Yeah, it's very interesting at this show. You know, everybody been talking about machine learning, and this show, we just had somebody from Post House on who said, now I believe it. You know, he's like, I was a little dubious before.
Yeah, that's
he's
right.
like, now I'm like, I want to see that. So I think that we've crossed that line.
Yeah.
It's
you know, really, truly, and you know, we were talking about NVIDIA's GTC conference earlier.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll mention is that the conference, we focus, of course, on media and entertainment. We have people dedicated to that, but we also focus on healthcare, and we focus on automotive, and we focus on architecture, engineering, construction, manufacturing, all of these industries. And truly, I mean, leaving GTC, you really see it where AI is going to be the most transformational technology of our lifetimes. It's doing so many good things, from autonomous vehicles to being able to detect conditions in humans without having to do invasive procedures in healthcare, and then of course all the cool stuff that we get to do in media and entertainment. So I'm super excited.
Yeah. Rick, I know it's a busy show. Thanks for stopping by and taking the time to share what's new with NVIDIA. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Randy. Appreciate being here.
I'm Randy Altman, Post Perspective, NAB 2019. Thank you.